What's up, YouTube? I'm back to the studio. So, it's another week, and brings us another new episode of Bleach. Now, this new episode of Bleach picks up right after the last episode, but, I'm pretty sure that's where y'all wanted to pick it up, right after what y'all saw from last episode. So, before we get into this, like, comment, subscribe, share it with your friends, family that love Bleach. So, I'm gonna be jumping all over the place with this episode because there's certain parts of the episode I really, truly want to talk to y'all about, because it really foreshadows what the rest of the series, well, I want to say the rest of the series, but it foreshadows a lot of stuff that's about to go down. And I'm going to start off with the conversation between Yamamoto and one of the captains. So I get this I usually forget this captain's name because, let's be real, some of the Bleach characters' names be so long and hard to pronounce, you kind of tend to forget. It's been a while, but y'all probably know which captain I'm talking about. The weird looking one, the one that runs the research division. That weird looking one. He's still one of the coolest Bleach characters that I like, but the weird looking one. I love the conversation between him and Yamamoto. That conversation just was, I don't know why it stuck out so much to me, but it stuck out a lot to me because one is foreshadowing what's going to happen later on in the series. It just doesn't foreshadow that. It also it makes you raise more questions than answers, because then it's going to be all like, okay, why did Yamamoto didn't kill this guy? Why? Well, we're going to call him His Majesty at the moment. He actually has a name, but his Majesty, also he's on the way too, by the way, but we're going to talk about that in just a moment. So that conversation pretty much was Yamamoto belittling his captain because he was all like, why aren't you not doing what I tell you to do, pretty much. And the captain is all like, listen, all right, shit is going hard, shit is going down, we're fighting Quincy's. You should have let me killed Uryu when they decided to come and save Rukia, but no, you didn't let me do it. You didn't let me kill him afterwards. I told you we should have eradicated him. Pretty much that's what I was getting out of this whole conversation. Then that's when he brings up you should have killed that man 1,000 years ago. And I'm like, Uryu's that old? He's 1,000 years old? But then again, I was like, no, His Majesty, he's that old. And I'm all like, as you really think it to yourself, what kind of history does Yamamoto and His Majesty have? Like, were they friends? Because, usually when you try to get these backgrounds of the main villain, they know somebody. They know somebody. And I feel like Yamamoto and him probably had like a good friendship. They probably had that, the Madara and the first Hokage type of friendship where they Madara and Hashirama type of friendship where at the beginning they were real close friends, then over time something popped off and they ended up being at each other's throats to the point to where they've gotten older and they're at a point to where they're at their peak of power, and they'd be all like, hey, listen, all right, one of us is gonna leave here dead while the other one's gonna leave alive. And clearly Yamamoto walked out on top while His Majesty was probably just sealed somewhere, because I don't think in Bleach the main villains died, because Aizen's still alive. He's just locked up somewhere. And the same thing happened to him. His Majesty, he got his ass whooped back in the day, and instead of killing him, they locked him away. And that's what this captain is trying to, Mr. Freakazoid over here is telling him that, hey, you should have killed this motherfucker when you had the chance. And now that he ain't dead, we getting this shit. And Yamamoto's the trainer must be rating him, talking about some in 5 days. We about to be at war with a bunch of Quincy's. And you over here telling me about shit that don't even make sense. Like shit that don't matter. And I also got to understand too, Yamamoto is upset. His lieutenant is gone. All right. And I think, like I said, him and his lieutenant were very close. If you remember that last scene from I think last week's episode, where they had that scene where it was just silence and it was him and his lieutenant, that right there just gave off they were very close vibes. So it was like, he's still upset about that. He wants revenge. He wants payback. And on top of that too, he doesn't like how they were just sneak attack like that. And I'm like, you would think that the Soul Society's defenses would be stronger than that, and they are, but the way that these guys popped up was like not the way Yamamoto would think that they would pop up. So he's not very happy about that, and he's not gonna be happy about what just happened, because these Quincy's just popped up out of nowhere, and now they ready to kill everybody, not just certain people. No, everybody gotta die. You wearing that Soul Reaper get up, you dying on spot, no questions asked. And the funny thing about it is one of the Quincy's popped out of the flame pillar and started doing a spirit gun and just popping niggas' heads off. I'm like, God damn. He was not, when I tell you they was not hesitating to kill. If you, like I said, if you got that get up on, you got it's like you're wearing a target, a moving target for these guys. So that pretty much was the most interesting part of this episode. I mean, plus, the whole fight with Ichigo and this Quincy he's fighting. But on top of that too, I got to go back and retract my statement from last episode. I said that Uryu does know what's going on. No, Uryu does not know what's going on, but he's about to find out because he's snooping around his father's or his master's a library and office, and he's all like, he's finding out information, bits and bits of information, and he's looking at this book that his master has, and it's pretty much answering not all his questions, but answering some of his questions. Maybe some of the major questions that he wants to ask are being answered through this book. And his master's all like, but I tell you about wandering around my office and all that stuff. But I don't think he's really upset about Uryu being in his office, finding out about what's going on, because I think he wants Uryu to find out. Also, Uryu's the last quote-unquote Quincy, but as you can see, there's Quincy's here. So, but we got to go back to Hueco Mundo, because we're going to spend a little time on this, because this fight is probably going to last a couple episodes. But we're back with Ichigo fighting up against one of the Quincy's, and come to find out, the Quincy was getting his ass beat by Hollow Bell's 3 little subordinates, because they fused and they made Io and Ao or Aeon, or you know what I'm talking about, because they used their either left arms or their right arms, and they fused together to make this big hunking beast Hollow, and it stomps a mud hole in this Quincy's ass. But the Quincy gets back up and he's all like, all right, they didn't say nothing about this big hunking monster, but whatever. And what he does is pretty much he absorbs the monster into his type of Quincy awakening form. What's called is very hard to pronounce, but I'll leave it in the description below so y'all can try to pronounce it yourselves, because every time I read it, every time I try to say it, I just pronounce it wrong. But it's pretty much a Quincy's version of Bunkai in my eyes. Like, it's, in my humble opinion, it's like their version of Bunkai. And he pretty much absorbed the little Hollow, and he's pretty much half Quincy, half Hollow, because the wings on his back gain the eyes from the Hollow, teeth. He's getting a little bit bigger, and I thought it was pretty dope to see him like that. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Can all the Quincy's do that? If so, that's pretty kick-ass. I would like to see what else they can do, fuse with some of the people that are fighting Zanpakuto's toes. That'd be pretty dope. So they're fighting, and Ichigo was all like, all right, I guess Hollow Bell's subordinates can't hold up, because I thought they were dead, but no, instead the big honking monster just comes out of nowhere and just knocks the fuck out of this dude. But I already spoke on that part. So that's pretty much the end of the fight. Well, I want to say end of the fight. That's pretty much enough of Ichigo and Homeboy fighting. We go back to the Soul Society. Not Soul Society, but we go to where His Majesty is. And one of his subordinates tells him, like, hey, one of our Quincy's are fighting our special threat or special target, which was Ichigo. And he was like, all right, well, get the band together. We are headed to Soul Society. Because I thought he was headed to Hueco Mundo to see Ichigo, but instead, no, he decided, fuck it. We're just going to go to the Soul Society right now, and we're going to cause some damage. So those 5 pillars that popped up, the flame pillars that popped up, were Quincy's. And now they're ready to destroy the Soul Society. So His Majesty is coming. Well, he is at Soul Society, and I'm thinking this is where Yamamoto is about to die. I think this is where he's going to die. Him and Yamamoto are going to have another fight, and he's going to have the upper hand, and he's going to do something that Yamamoto didn't do 1,000 years ago, and that's kill his opponent. So dark. I want to say it's a dark episode, but it was a pretty good episode. Like I said, last episode was good. This episode was pretty good, and so on and so forth. So I'm looking forward to next week's episode. Like I said, the main conversation I'm trying to pay attention more to the conversations, because I want to, each episode I do, I want to pull out a special conversation and want to focus on that talk, because a lot of these conversations can lead to foreshadowing. Like I said, between Yamamoto and his captain, he was telling him, like, hey, we should have eradicated the Quincy's, but you didn't want to listen. And also there was another thing that was explained that I just forgot to explain for you guys. It's what happens, why not Soul Hollows, but Soul Reapers, the purpose of their jobs and why they kill Hollows, and what happens when a Quincy kills a Hollow. When a Soul Reaper kills a Hollow, the souls go back to the Soul Society, and I think they put it into a new body or something. I didn't get that part, but we know that the souls are being saved when they kill Hollows, when the Soul Reaper does it. But when the Quincy does it, a Quincy is just eradicating the soul altogether. So there is no soul returning back to the Soul Society. There is no Soul Society made for Quincy's. It's just Hollows are dead. They're dead. They're gone. The souls are no more. So, and what one of the, I guess, no-name characters, because he might pop back up, I don't know. But like, he explained that since there's a low balance of Hollows in the real world, what's going to happen is that the real world and the Soul Society is going to be unbalanced, and they're going to collide, and they're going to destroy each other. And it's like, think of all my Marvel fans out there. Think of the Incursions, when one universe and another universe came together and they exploded. Well, not exploded, but they were just destroyed. So think of that. Think of Secret Wars, ladies and gentlemen. But that's all I got for y'all. I loved how he explained why it's such a big deal that Hollows being killed in the real world by Quincy's is a bad thing, but I feel like later on down the line. Now, there was another thing that somebody had said also in that conversation. I forgot his name. Like I said, these are some no-name characters I really don't pay attention to, but he did ask a question: are we doing this for justice? And the guy breaks down, talk about it's war, so both sides are just. So we are going to get to learn why the Quincy's are doing what they're doing, because there's always going to be a reason for us to sympathize with the villain. Like, let's be real. Some anime villains you can actually sympathize with. So I feel like once they explain why they're doing what they're doing, you may be able to sympathize with them. Maybe. That's a big maybe with a huge ass question mark. But that's all I got for y'all. I hope you guys are taking care of yourselves. Another Chainsaw Man video coming out. I'm doing episode 2 and 3 in one video, so that might be longer than this one. But other than that, guys, I hope y'all taking care of yourselves. I love y'all for watching these Bleach videos. I really do. But other than that, take care of yourselves. Peace.